I'm going to show you how to make a farm that will give you more bone meal than you can ever use, and it's all going to be within a single chunk, and no matter how far away you go from that chunk, it will always continue producing your bone meal. Let me show you how to make it. Bone meal is super useful in Minecraft. You can use it to make your crops grow faster, or for creating massive trees if you've not got enough wood. That's pretty big. You can use it in a crafting table to make yourself some bone blocks. You don't have to find fossils, they're really hard to find. Get your bone blocks just by doing that. Easy. Or maybe you want to use it to decorate your landscape with a little bit of terraform. It gets loads of grass, loads of flowers. Or you could even decorate around your Steve's Lava Chicken farm that I did the other day. Link to the tutorial is in the description. Yep, blatant plug, but it is pretty good. What you need is a bone meal farm without having to kill a load of skellies. Well, I got you covered. This farm is really small and super simple. The redstone isn't complicated, I promise you, and it will be easy to make with really limited resources. I'd like to thank BlazedMC for the inspiration on this particular farm. Thanks, Blaze. I'll put your link down in the description. These are all the materials that you're going to need if you make it my way. If you add extra decoration or use a different structural block, that's absolutely fine. But you are going to need all of these things if you're going to copy me block by block, because this is a block by block tutorial. Get all your stuff together, let's crack on. The outside of the chunk is in red wool there, and I've given you a little scale in purple and black just to show you the number of blocks. If you go to the bottom left hand corner, that black square, and count up 7 and 1 block in, that is where you're going to start that white section. Now the white sections, they are 3 deep. The brown section, that is 4 deep. The blue sections, they are 2 deep. And that orange section at the top, that is 1 deep. So once you've dug that out, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now come along to the chicken's bum. The chicken's bum is this little pokey out bit. That is the chicken's feet. That's the chicken's head. That's the chicken's, I don't know, maybe it's holding a football, the chicken's arms. And this is the chicken's tail. And you want to come to the bit where the chicken's tail joins the chicken's back. Yeah, I know you may not think it looks like a chicken, but it really helps me be able to describe where I'm going. And what you're going to do is you're going to place right on the edge where the tail meets the back a temporary block. Then you're going to come across the other side. You can place a temporary block right next to it. You can get rid of that temporary block, and that's overhanging right there. Come into this 2 deep hole and place an upside down observer. You can tell it's upside down because that arrow is facing downwards. You then want to get a block and put it underneath, and you can also check that it is facing the right way because the face is facing upwards. And we're going to use the redstone fart that comes out the bottom of this observer to fire off the bone meal that is going to keep this farm going forever. Yes, the bone meal farm is going to give infinite bone meal by using bone meal. I know, mind blown. But the problem is a redstone fart is only 1 tick, and we need it to be longer, so we need to make a pulse extender. So I'm going to place a repeater coming out along this direction out of the block underneath that observer. I'm going to right click on it once to make it a 2 tick pulse. I'm going to put a redstone dust there, a redstone dust there, also a redstone dust right there next to it, so it goes into that block and off over this hole. If you double click it, it turns into a blob and your entire farm won't work. I'm then going to get a comparator. I'm going to face it that way. Another comparator, face it that way. Redstone dot there, another redstone dot up there, and a repeater up there, but I'm not going to click on it. That's just going to be 1 tick, and a redstone torch on top of that block. So that should be on your ground level. Now what's going to happen here is this redstone fart's going to go off into that block. The repeater's going to suck it out, but it's only going to be 1 tick, and we need to extend it. So it goes into this comparator, and that shoots the signal round into this comparator. And the comparator here compares how strong it is next to the other one. And slowly but surely, it reduces the power over the course of about 1.5 seconds. Let me demonstrate to you. If I place a block on the observer, we get that redstone pulse and it slowly comes down. I'll take it off. Redstone pulse and it slowly goes down. A lot faster than that little one there that is just a tick. Can you see that? That's how this pulse extender works. And it's also super important to light up your redstone so you don't create any lag either in your game or on a server. So put a torch right there. It won't affect the mechanism, but it will make sure that there's no light updates as a result of this redstone circuit. We're then going to come into the chicken's tail. This bit is 3 deep, and I'm going to place a trapdoor right at the top and flip it downwards. I'm going to place a ladder there and a ladder there, which means I can climb up and out dead easy. I'm still well within my chunk because this little gradient here is still in the trunk. I'll get rid of that in just a moment. And I can come down to collect up all the bone meal that's going to be sat in a double chest right here, there, and there. That's going to collect up the bone meal. Although some of the bone meal is going to go back up droppers and dispensers to be able to make more bone meal. It'll make sense in just a minute. Shift click a hopper into the side of the chest. If you just come down, you can see the little nib of that hopper is pointing into the chest. So if something goes into the hopper, it appears inside that chest. And we're then going to come up on our little block here, and we're going to get a dropper and shift click it onto that hopper. You can see the rectangle hole at the top. We're then going to put another dropper on top of that. We're then going to jump on top and jump onto the observer and get a dispenser and place that on top of the dropper. You can see the hole is now a circle. We need to get a signal out of that bottom dropper, so we're going to place a comparator facing outwards. We're going to put a torch on top of that block because we're lighting up redstone, and then we're going to get more redstone there and there. Then we're going to come inside here and we're going to get a redstone torch and place it right there. That redstone torch is going to be responsible for locking this hopper. If I then put something in there, let's just pop that composter in, it doesn't go into the hopper and therefore not into the chest. If I remove that, it's no longer in the dropper, it's not in the hopper, it is however in the chest. So we can control what goes into the chest and what goes up our tower by turning that redstone on and off. We're going to make a load of bone meal, and that's got to be transported into this dropper tower. So I'm going to shift click a hopper into that bottom dropper. If I come down here, you can see that nib is right there. Let me come out and come back up, because if you're in survival you can't fly. And I'm going to shift click a hopper there, hopper there, hopper there, hopper there, and then come around and a hopper right there. Now I appreciate there's quite a lot of iron that has gone into this so far, but that's okay. There's a one chuck iron farm that is your friend. I did this a little while ago. The link is in the description, and if I remember, I'm going to edit the thumbnail up on the screen now, so you'll be able to go and find it. It'll work beautifully for you and have iron for days, and you'll be able to make hoppers and not even worry about it. We're going to use composters to make the bone meal, so I'm going to place a composter there and a composter there, and also a hopper there and a hopper right there. So everything that we do to make our bone meal is going to fall in those two hoppers. Now again, just to avoid lag, we can place a block there, a block there, a block there, and a block there. Covering up those hoppers means that the game doesn't look above the hopper to do something before it makes the next thing. And that means the game's a lot less to think about and therefore less lag. We can then also cover up this area here with some blocks, cover up this area here with some blocks, because we don't need that open anymore. Leave that open and flip that switch, and then we're going to put one there, 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 but we are not, I repeat, not placing one there, because that will stop your farm from working. Keep that bit open. So now all you should see in your chunk is here. We've got our observer pointing upwards, we've got our dispenser pointing upwards, we've got a trapdoor, we've got two hoppers, and we've got a little bit of redstone near the top. We now need to start building out the structure of this farm. I'm going to use these tough bricks because I really like the way they look, but you can absolutely use any non-flammable brick you like, or block, or anything. You could use cobble, you could even use bird poo blocks if you want, although that'd look rubbish. So I'm going to place 3 brick blocks on that side right next to our opening. I'm going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be in line with your trapdoor, and then come in the other side. I'm going to do exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So altogether you should have a row of 13. Then on this side we're going to place 1 obsidian there, 1 obsidian there, skip that, 1 obsidian there, 1 obsidian there, and 1 obsidian there. Now you could absolutely use some other block that doesn't get pushed by a piston right here. That's no problem whatsoever, but I find obsidian, I don't know, it's just cooler. I know, you're shouting at the screen, furnace. We'll use a furnace then. We're then going to come the other side of our obsidian-y, furnace-y, non-pushy block thing and place 2 blocks there. We're then going to, including this one, come across 10 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're then going to come in 1 and out 1, and then we're going to come here and we're going to get some pistons. We're going to place a piston there, there, and there. Leave a gap there, there, and there. You should have a sticky out block just there, and then we can place another block in the middle of that. We're then going to cover up all of these except for that gap between our obsidian with another level. So I'll just do that, and when we get around to the other side, the place where we've got this gap between the obsidian, we're not going to place the same type of block, because what we're going to do is we're going to get a trapdoor. We're going to place a trapdoor there, flap it up, and one on top of it and flap it up. We're then just going to carry on going all the way around with more of our blocks. You could also use a door here as well, but it works beautifully with these trapdoors. Open up the trapdoor, walk into the trapdoors, and down you go into your area here, and then you can just come straight up and out, close your trapdoor, and it's perfect. While I'm down here, I just realised, put in a torch right there. That will light up this area, just in case there's enough light for a mob to spawn. Pretty sure there's not, but why take the risk? Now from your wall, come down inside your farm, inside the middle of it, and you're going to come in front of your pistons and leaving one gap, you're going to place a row of stone. And it is really important that it is stone, not bricks, not cobble, stone. It has to be stone. Then get one of your structural blocks, place it on top of that, and come one side, two side, three sides, one side, two sides, three sides, and one there. So you've made yourself a little T. Get a bucket of water and place it underneath this block that you've put there, and it should flow both sides along those pistons. Then grab a lava bucket and place it one at the end there and one at the end there. You could place it in the middle or inside, doesn't matter, as long as you've got it one in each of these three areas. We're then going to get another load of stone, drop down inside here, and in front of these hoppers you're going to place one there all the way along, and you should end up on one of your obsidian-y, furnace-y, whatever doesn't move-y blocks. And then you're going to place a water bucket at that end and a water bucket at that end. That's where you're going to push all of the moss, etc. you're going to generate down into the hoppers and down into those composters, meaning you're going to make bone meal that will use to drive the rest of the farm. We need to come behind our pistons now, so jump up next to the water, jump up by the lava. Don't fall in the lava, it will be all burny. Then you want to grab a block, place a block behind that piston, and again, that piston, and again, that piston, and again, the middle block, and again, this piston, and again, and these last two pistons, 1 and 2. You then want to come up, place a block right there. At this point, we get rid of that block, otherwise it's going to interfere with something that we're going to do over there. We're going to put a lever on top of that block, and we're going to flick that switch so it is on. That means that when we place a redstone torch on there, that flicks off, and off is good. We want off. And now the redstone repeater is going to go there, 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 and there, and then we're going to place redstone dust on all of these blocks except for that last one. We want to wait for that one for just a moment. I'm then going to take this repeater, I'm going to right click on it 1, 2, 3 times, this one 1, 2, 3 times, this one 1, 2, 3 times, and this one just once. This is the redstone clock that is going to keep firing our stone generator and push stone into the farm, which is then going to get turned into moss, which is going to get collected and pushed all the way into our hoppers, make some lovely bone meal to refeed the farm and fill up our chest. Easy, right? At this point, just for safety reasons, put a temporary block right there and then cover over this lava, just to make sure, you know, you don't die or something stupid like that. And also anything wood around it, well, that fire tick is going to cause it to catch fire. Just in case you place some decoration that's woody or burny, cover up your lava. Now come back into your farm, and inside this dispenser right click and put 16 bone meal in it. Now theoretically you could use less than 16 bone meal, you could use as little as 10, 11, 12, but I like to put at least 16. You could even lob an entire stack in there, depends how much you've got, but get some in it. You are then going to get stone, and you're going to place a stone block all the way across, over and up to the dispenser. Miss the dispenser, come all the way up and across, cover it over, cover it over, cover it over, cover it over. Miss the observer, come down, and then fill this all up with stone. We have now primed our farm. We're now going to create the collection mechanism that we're going to use to push all of our lovely moss and stuff into our water up here. So this row here, we have got our redstone torch underneath. So I'm going to pop a block on that. You can see the redstone torch is pasting straight into that block, which has charged that block. If I put redstone on top, you can see the redstone is on. And then we're going to put a block all the way along as it goes across here, up to and including this block. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus your original one. I'm then gonna take all of these out, and I'm gonna get a trapdoor. I'm gonna place a trapdoor in all of these blocks here. You can see we're covering over this block that was originally our wall. When I place one here, it's going to be upright because it's charged on that block. If I then put redstone on all of these blocks, what you'll find is the second I put this last redstone on, all of these are going to flip up There you go, that's perfect because it's charged. And then not on the trapdoor, but on the block underneath and next to the trapdoor, we're going to place water. Put one every 2, and that will make an infinite water source all the way along. So when these trapdoors flap down, the water will float across there and collect up anything and push it into this channel. We can now place these last 2 blocks on top of our dispenser with the 16 bone meal in it. I'm going to place 1 moss block, and on top of our observer, and the observer's going to see me do it because it's watching, I'm going to place 1 stone block. That is going to fire. As a result, all of that stuff's going to go down into the composter, but the observer hasn't seen anything else happen yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this last redstone dust, I'm going to place that there, and that's popped off some of the moss. But again, the observer hasn't seen anything change. So what we do now is we turn on our clock. That is going to push every now and again some stone forwards, and as soon as it goes over that observer and it sees something change, that is going to click off that again, and that's going to push all of that across into the water, into those composters. And every time the observer sees something change, and it's going to do it the next time, off goes that again, and we keep collecting our moss, our grass seeds, our carpet, and anything else like those azalea bushes that come into to get composted. And this is going to carry on forever because it generates more bone meal than it uses. Every time you push up a 1 bone meal, it puts enough into those composters to generate more than 1 bone meal. And ultimately what happens is the bone meal fills up in that dispenser, and in the chests you get even more. And if we come down our trap door and we look at what's going on here, you can see what's going on is all of that bone meal is running into this hopper and ultimately into this dispenser or this dropper right here. Right now we've got 4, now 5 in that, but once it gets to about 40, that is going to be detected by that comparator, which is going to put a charge through here. It's going to turn off that redstone, and that is going to allow some of this bone meal that's in that dropper to drop down into this hopper, which is going to put it into this large chest, and you're slowly going to collect it without running out at the top. And structurally and functionally, that is now complete. But obviously you could decorate it up in some way, make it look maybe slightly less rough around the edges. I can still see pistons going. I can see the obsidian, which I don't necessarily want to do from the outside. So we could trim it up. And I'm going to start by placing myself steps all the way around the outside. So as I hide up some of this nasty, I don't know, visible mechanisms that we don't necessarily want, all the way around this way as well. We can then come there, come there, come there, and then come all the way along here, stop, and then start again until we get all the way around to the other side. And that makes already for a much nicer looking system. We can still see this redstone here, but that's pretty not avoidable. But the one thing that we've got a problem with is if we wander away and this chunk unloads, we're going to end up with it stopping, and we don't want that. Now you can come anywhere inside your chunk. It doesn't matter where in your chunk you do this, as long as you're inside the chunk that the farm is in. And I'm going to come to this spot just here because it's tucked away. And I'm going to dig down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I'm going to place 1 soul sand right there. And I'm going to get a bucket of water, and I'm going to place my water on the top block up there. That is going to allow me to swim back up. But before I do, I'm going to place kelp all the way up to the top. That means that they have formed actual full water source blocks. I can then get rid of my kelp, and as soon as that kelp has gone, I have got a water channel that is going to push me right up, a water elevator that doesn't allow me to go back down. And if you've got bubbles coming out the top, you know you've done it right. You're then going to get a trap door, you're going to place it over that and flip it up. You're then going to get a temporary block, and you're going to place it at the corner of your channel right here. What we need to do is get an ender pearl down at the bottom without touching the bottom. It can sometimes take a few goes, but if you don't stand on a temporary block so you elevate slightly, it doesn't work. Now the trick is to be able to get right to the corner of your water block there whilst you're stood on this extra block. And if I throw this, I hope it should only take 1 block. Yep, it does. Up bobs that ender pearl. You do not want that ender pearl to touch you. Get rid of that block. Do not flap that trapdoor. If you do, you will be teleported onto the trapdoor and you'll have to do it again. It is also worth mentioning that if you die, you will need to reset this. It will be like the ender pearl never existed. And this farm will carry on and on and on and make you loads of bone meal for you to be able to do whatever it is you want to do bone meal with. Maybe you want it for a crop farm. Maybe you want it for a tree farm. Maybe you want to do bone blocks. I don't know, but you're going to get loads of it. So enjoy yourself. So let's see what's happened in the time it's taken me to make that trim and that chunk loader, which was about 15 minutes. If I come down, we've already got 6 bits of bone meal in our chest, which is great. That means this entire system is primed. If I look at that dropper, yep, it's got 39 in it. That means that every now and again, we're going to get bone meal shooting into that dropper. And did you see that that redstone torch is just flicking off and on? That means that that's releasing this hopper and it's sucking the odd extra few little bits of bone meal in. We've now got 9. So a dead easy bone meal farm. And yeah, you could do a skelly farm and kill loads of skellies. That's always a nice idea. But you can do this in peaceful mode. You can do this without risking getting an arrow in your eyeball. It's always a positive way of getting bone meal without actually dying. Unless you fall into your lava. And I'm not saying I've ever done that. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done that, not ever. If you've enjoyed this one, please do let me know. And thank you to BlazedMC where I got the inspiration for this farm. I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Please do leave a like if you've enjoyed the video. Maybe consider subscribing. And I'll look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.